Greetings! Welcome to the devlog for update 98 of Hot Dogs, Horseshoes, and Hand Grenades. We're going to start off as always with a quick sound check. Make sure your speakers aren't up too high. Wonderful. So what have we got for you this week? Well, we have. It is just about the 5-year anniversary of H3. I feel so old. And so we've got an extra special update for you this week with a little bit of some April Fool's tomfoolery thrown in for good measure. So let's jump right into the first thing, what I thought would be appropriate not just for this update, but to start out with. Any of you who've been with us since the beginning or near since the beginning probably are going to remember this piece. There was a gun that was in H3 right at the beginning. Day one, in fact, that along the way, I think it was back when I did the update 52 update or so, I never rebuilt because it didn't really have a role at the moment, and there was something else unusual about its ammo. I can't remember what it was, but either way, it sort of fell by the wayside and has been requested to return many times. And so I give to you the return of the very first, the OG. Absolutely enormous break action shotgun. I modeled this myself basically the first day that I had a Vive pre-unit back in the day, or Vive as I called it because I didn't know better at the time. I didn't use any sort of real world dimensions because I was just experimenting, and what I didn't know at the time is that I was in fact modeling a break action shotgun with the dimensions of basically a 3-gauge shotgun shell in reality. That's right, this is basically the dimension of a like the bullet that an A10 fires. So it's unnecessarily large. And I was never quite sure what to do with that, but I had some ideas in this case. I decided I did all the measurements, exactly how many double-aught buck pellets would be in a shot like this. The answer is like 32, which is terrifying, and realized it needed the appropriate sort of sound and effect for firing. So here we go, our 3-gauge OG. Yay! Absolute devastation. All 32. Let's see, did all 32 hits even hit? Oh, it seems we might have even gotten some ricochets there. Boom! Oh, I had to steal the moonshot effect that I did from that one scout ammo. This is just devastatingly powerful. It's double-aught buck, but it's got even more heat behind it. This is just the this is the Sosig Devastator, and is just hilarious to fire. A little jarring to fire twice in a row as well. So you asked for it. It is now returned in all of its meme fashion. This will spawn with Ricky, and I think maybe the default character in Taken Hold. I hope you enjoy it. It was really wonderful pulling this this old model back out of storage and bringing it back into service. Oh, that is just a delightful sound. Moving along, for our bit of tomfoolery, I have a wonderful rendition of what struck me as a truly horrifying gun when I encountered it hanging out with Toby-wan on Voice the other day. We were looking at various sorts of 22 LR guns, and I came across this. I think I described this to someone as like an M16 if an M16 grew up eating lead paint chips. And so I give to you this horrifying M1600 because adding more zeros means more gun. That's right, it's a 22 LR gun that's sort of like if you described to an artist who had never seen an M16 what an M16 was, or maybe they just saw a single blurry screen capture of it from a movie, they'd be like, M16. So, like, the main stock is wood, which the used versions, because I saw this and I was like, I have to own one of these in real life. So I started looking at auctions for them on like Gunbroker and such, and like, was like, wait a minute, these used ones have a lot of the paint chipped off. Apparently it just starts coming right off, and there's wood beneath this. Actually saw a couple people suggesting you just take the paint off because it's actually pretty nice looking wood. And of course, such a cursed gun would of course have a truly cursed magazine. I'm not even gonna say anything. I'm just gonna make you absorb that. I'm gonna make you reckon with this way of look like it's like, I want to be an M16 when I grow up, Dad. 15-round magazine. And of course, the funniest part of this is the funniest part, because when a gun looks like this, you're like, oh man, that cannot operate well. Turns out it's the opposite. Every review I could find of this, every person I could find writing about it, absolutely loves this hideous thing. It apparently runs wonderfully, and it's apparently surprisingly accurate, as long as you don't pick it up by its carry handle, because then that apparently it isn't affixed there super good, and you'll mess up your sight picture. But yeah, so that just, I love the fact that the sucker that is not a looker is apparently actually a nice piece in real life. But of course, because this is what Stefan does, we couldn't just have the original version of it. We had to have a horrifying tactical version of it. And so I present to you the M1600 A3000 with collapsible stock, rails. Let's kludge this up. Let's do it in H3 fashion. Let's get some foregrip action here. Boom. Let's see. It's trying to be an M16. What should that mean? We need an ACOG on it. Clearly. Boom. There we go. And 15 rounds isn't gonna do. We got to do something about that. Let's pull out my kit bashed 150 round magazine. There we go. We are ready to fight for America. Oh my goodness. In single and added 3-round burst. The Sosigs won't know what hit him. What have I done with my life for 5 years? Oh, that's just wonderful. That is just absolutely wonderful. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do. The more a 22 LR is a monstrosity, the more it just warms my heart. Anywho, let's move on to the next part of this 5th year anniversary update. So with 5 years of working on this ridiculous game, only one thing was absolutely sure to happen, which was it was finally time to reimagine, not just remaster, a scene that has been in the game for as long as it has been a game. And that's right, our minigame, Boomski. Which was the original version of this. Many of you have dropped into play. Was sort of like inspired by Skee-Ball, but in this sort of like awkward in between, where it used the explosion from the grenades, but it was a fun sketch. It was a great way to enjoy throwing, but it felt time to actually sort of deepen that and explore it a little more, both from a perspective of grenades, explosions, and a little bit of strategy. And so let's Let's move on up. What you're going to see here as we play is that not just has Boomski been rebuilt, but like a dozen new types of grenades have been added to the game with this update. A version of them specifically for this game, and a version for regular blowing stuff up. So let's start. Oh, thanks to Joe for all of the wonderful table sounds and music. So, the way this works is you might have played a game like this before at an arcade, in that we've got sort of tiers of targets to go for with our grenades. We've got a grenade. We can look down here and see what we've got. This is an M219. It tells us its blast radius, its fuse type, its fuse time, and how far we can throw it. Now, importantly, we can throw several ways. We can overhand it, which isn't going to make it super far, but we can definitely hit our sort of close targets. And then we can use the ramp here with either an overhand or sort of underhand, or overhanding it at the ramp just before the edge, which will accelerate our grenade into the playfield. So let's do an overhand first. Pop the pin off. Ha! Wonderful. So we blew up a building, and I believe we blew up a car, which means we got another grenade. And when that happens, it's a random one. So it looks like here we got the He-36 Mills bomb. This is not a long-range one. This one's pretty heavy, too. Let's see here. Ha! Ha-ha! Chain reaction. Wonderful. Ooh, we got some good ones here. Let's try an underhand now and try to get it onto the middle deck. Now you'll notice I'll get extra grenades when I blow up trophies, but I'll also get them when blowing up the moving vehicles. And you get more extra grenades if you can hit the higher vehicles. So let's see if we can time this here. Oh, look, got the trophy, didn't get the truck. A little too far back. Let's try again. Oh, flubbed it. That little transition in between the two ramps is designed to trip you up, so make sure to avoid it if you can. Let's go high. Ha! Oop, too high. Oh, almost got a gold trophy with that one. Nope. Awesome. Ooh. Look at this. This is an RGN. This is an impact grenade. So this one's going to explode the first thing it hits after its original launch. Ha! Nice. Would have preferred the train, but I'll take that. Oh, let's see. That's coming up. 1, 2, 3. Ha! Oh, bounced too high on me. Boop, boop. See, this is the curse of people watching it while you play. I swear I am better at this. Boo! So yeah, so that is Boomski. And the way it works with the scoring as well is if you can manage to clear all of the trophies, don't worry, it is possible with some practice, you will essentially, all the trophies will get respawned and your multiplier will go up. So I look forward to seeing what sort of ridiculous scores you folks get at this because, well, if I've learned one thing in 5 years of working on H3, it's no matter what I put in here, there's always going to be just a whole mess of you that are way better at it than I will ever be. Oh, pop the spoon off a little too early. Remember, if you want them to airburst early, you can pop the fuse off with joystick or touchpad click if you're in classic controls mode, or I think it's A X on streamlined. It's one of those two buttons. There we go. 2 trucks. Oh, here we go. T13 Beano. This one's an impact grenade, and it's got a big blast. Take that, train. Oh, let's see here. Ooh, we of course have a smoke grenade, which, as you might be like, but this is smoke grenades. Are these good for anything? Not really, no. Oh, let's see what we got here. Let's do an RG5. Let's see if we can hit ourselves a gold trophy. I do these with a strong underhand with a popped off spoon. 1, 2. Yeah, perfect. Let's try it. Yeah. Oh, exploded just a bit too high. Oh, just flubbed it. Terrible, Anton. You're just terrible. Almost got that train. Let's do another Beano here. Ha! Ooh, too high. Got it anyway. Also important, the vehicles which give you extra grenades will only respawn if you blow up a building, which means once you've blown up all the buildings, you're not going to get any more vehicles. And so the approach that you take for the order that you blow up trophies at the high skill ceiling, every now and again a crash happens because of the debris, and I just love it. So yeah, you got to pick the order that you do things in. Smart. Oh yeah. Ooh, we've got a new sound for our cyber grenade here. Yes. The cyber grenade is sort of like the super grenade of this mode. It's got a wide blast radius, far throw distance. Little late there. I was kind of going for the gold. Oh, what's this? Oh, it's another gas grenade. That's so useful. In reality, they can be useful along with the flashes because you can overhand direct throw them at a trophy. Let's see if I can do this. Oh, too far to the right. But with practice, you can just direct hit the trophies, which is a great way to cycle them to another nade. Bammo! Take that, trophy. Bammo. Oh, I love that sound. Well, that's enough Boomski. Let's jump over to the proving ground and talk about the other changes to this wonderful collection of new grenades. Boom! So, over in our proving ground scene, we're going to talk about some of the changes that are coming to grenades that I didn't show you folks last week. Now note, because these changes are to explosions, and well, there's a lot of things that explode in the game, these haven't been rolled out evenly across the game yet. These are basically only the pinned grenades have the new explosions that I'm going to show you. The Sosig grenades don't, the capped grenades don't, and other sort of fired grenades don't. Mainly because I want to make sure that this all works how I expect it to before I sit and manually reconfigure parameters on another, 100 or so things. So let's dive in. Let's take a look at what is different. All right. What would be a good... Let's for a moment talk about grenades and fragmentation. As I mentioned last week, I finally actually took the time to do some really in-depth research about exactly how grenades are constructed, what their various sort of abilities are, how fragmentation works, and the history of that. And it turns out that this and this are even more different than you might think. These sort of like classic style grenades, like the Mark II and the F1, were designed to fragment along these sort of divots that you see running along the grenade, but it wasn't even very good at that in real life. In real life, these only fragmented into only about 18 total pieces, which, as you might imagine, that's not very many pieces. That's not super effective as a fragmenting explosive. And so it was mostly just the rest of the explosive, the TNT in this, that did the job. Whereas something like an M67 here apparently fragments into up to like 2,000 pieces because of the way they like pre-score the inside of it. Way more fragments than we could simulate in real life in H3. So how on earth did I make this work? So let's start with our simple one here and talk about some changes to it. So first off, I know a lot of you have been like, grenades aren't super effective, they need to be better. So things like the sort of like injury, all of the radii for them have changed. In short, if you're pretty close to the grenade, they're way more deadly to SOSIGs more reliably. The force explosion sort of fades off much more quickly, but the stun radius is higher. And what this all means, if we can give these, they won't stun unless they are active. So we'll let them all start doing this. This, of course, makes it way grimmer. What this basically means is that SOSIGs that are near the detonation area will be more likely to be destroyed, and SOSIGs that are distant from it,
at least I'm not a chicken wing.
I know, will be more likely to be stunned.
Think of this whole
So let's watch this. Ha!
No one heard that, right?
Whammo! So you can see that one got caught in the explosion, didn't get killed, but was severely injured. And this one was injured and stunned despite being quite distant from it because it wasn't blocked from it by the environment.
Being watched by like greasy folk with weird machines on their face.
Yep. You'll also notice that environment stuff now actually protects you pretty much completely from explosive damage. Not fragments, but we'll take that risk.
Heard that, right?
Doot 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 doot.
What can I say?
Oof. Sorry about that, fellas. So it's now significantly more effective to be just around a wall from some SOSIGs. Toss a grenade. Whammo. And use them like such. Let's turn on our options panel and turn on bullet trail so we can see a bit more of a visualization of what's going on here. So once again, this is only going to have 18 to 20 fragments in it.
Quit you. Oh, why me?
And there are the fragments. And these are purely randomly distributed. So you might be asking, that's cool, but how are you going to, you mentioned this has thousands of fragments.
Hot dogs.
How are you going to handle this? I'm going to wander away from these fellas so I can actually think. Sorry about this.
Rip off.
Trying to talk to...
Snorting man now.
There we go. Come over here away from the talking SOSIGs for a moment.
Coding mistakes that brought me here.
So basically, Anton looked up some research papers on fragment distribution. Really? You're going to come over here to... Fine. Take all the guns, I guess.
I should really get the laundry done tomorrow.
You should really stop distracting me from my demonstration. There we go. So, as I was saying, basically what I've decided to do is try to match the rough equivalent of fragments that a SOSIG-sized target would actually be hit by a radial explosion with several thousand fragments. And so what the grenade actually does is detects targets within a range of it and spawns an appropriate amount of fragments in the rough cone of where those targets are, and basically doesn't spawn fragments in its, in the areas where there aren't targets. And so this basically ends up being a happy medium between realism and not having your computer explode. What it means is that modern games with these sort of like multi-fragments are a little more effective. Doot, doot, doot. Oh. So there you can see the red fragments are our quote-unquote real or distant fragments, meant to represent the fact that in real life, a grenade can have fragments go as far as 200 meters away, but usually not that many of them. Whereas, bring these back, all of the yellow fragments are just ones spawned within that sort of grenade's stated guaranteed casualty range to give us that behavior. Wonderful. So there. So hopefully between all of these things, oh, and we can see all the like fragment patterns there. This fella lucked out for sure. But yeah, but you there you can sort of see that we're going to just basically get more interesting fragmentation behavior. The other thing to note is that not all grenades in real life have large numbers of fragments. Other ones are essentially more designed as offensive grenades that are designed so that people charging into a combat situation don't puncture and fragment themselves. So grenades like the RG-42 and the URG-86 either have a reduced number of fragments, making them safer in these contexts, or they have none at all and rely purely on their explosive power. Let's try this one.
Tornation.
Whammo. Perfect. Absolutely perfect. So that is how the new grenade fragmentation system works. I also mentioned last week that when I put in the various sorts of visual and sonic effects for explosions, that they would be configurable. Right now, they're just on-off buttons. Eventually, once I've really tuned them, I'll actually have some like short versus long options for them, but they're all here under work in progress feature preview options, separable into the sort of visual warp distortion, the vignette, the sonic overload, and the sonic overload ringing. So you can turn these. So if we just turn off the sonic stuff and just have the visual, maybe don't stand right there. So there we get the explosion sound and we get the visual hit, or we can reverse that and of course just have, let's hope this doesn't blow us up. We just get the sonic effect. We don't get the vignetting or the warping. Obviously, there was a visual effect because we got hit by the grenade, but yeah. So those can all be configured. They are off by default, and I hope you folks enjoy them. Keep giving me feedback about them, and I will let you tune them more when they are a little more done. Yo! So I hope that all has you excited. I know it has been a wonderful time putting together this 5-year sort of anniversary update, both because it was just great to return to Boomski and really sort of fall in love with the simplicity of the joy of throwing exploding things in VR. It's just it's a natural loop. It's something that sort of instantly demonstrates what is unique and special about being in a virtual environment with hand-tracked controllers. And so, yeah, it was just, it was, I don't know, it felt like, at least emotionally, for me, this past couple weeks, having a number of things sort of come full circle. So, and I hope you all enjoy playing Boomski as much as I have both playing it and bringing it to life for you folks. I'm not going to keep you very long, just because the fact that this devlog has already run long. Just know that, as I said, the explosive stuff that I've been working on is going to need to be slow rolled out to many of the other things that explode in H3. I'm probably going to do that on the alpha branch for update 99, which is going to be a long one again. Finally going to get to that second take and hold map, which is again the priority, but I'll talk to you folks about that stuff more soon. Also, just be prepared. I'm going to drop one more video on Monday, just more of like a sort of long, rambly, borderline essay. But I wanted to speak a little more at length on this channel about just 5 years of HMD hand track controller VR and our journey and my journey. But it didn't fit in this devlog because this one's already 30 minutes long. So I'll see you folks all again on Monday with that. And until then, I hope you enjoy your long weekend and blow some stuff up. See ya. Peace.